Welcome everyone, this is Pineleaf, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News. We take a look at these news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Sanswinda,
Hello.
Calabathian,
Ah,
and Krister.
Hello.
Hello everyone, it is time to see what the latest turmoil in Bulwer is because, yes, there was a build number 3 for 33.1, and I've heard a rumor that we've had some people here who have actually tried it out. But first, let's go over the patch notes. Then we can discuss what we found in it. And first off, relating to the Treasure Boogan. Beginning at level 20, every time you play a scaling instance at around your cap, there is a chance for a Treasure Boogan to appear somewhere in the instance. You must defeat the Boogan and reclaim the stolen treasure before it flees. The Boogan will not attack you, but will run around trying to evade your attacks and trying to aggro every mob in the area. And
as long as it's not in the raids, because we got enough to worry about in them raids without a Boogan running around like.
Well, yes, there is that. But I was wondering, do the Boogans only show up if you talk to Theodore first?
You're asking the wrong person, because I've
Okay.
never actually done the Boogan thing.
Well, it's that you imitated its laugh so perfectly that.
You know what, Pine? That was just my laugh, okay?
Uh-oh.
Actually, it totally wasn't. It was my I'm trying to be funny laugh. So apparently, it was just my Boogan laugh.
Okay. I was beginning to think that what did your voice act the Boogan or something? Yes. And the rewards for the Treasure Boogan event, barter, and quests have been updated with new cosmetics and new ally reward options, in addition to items available previously. And the Blood Craban pet offered in the Treasure Boogan event now has the correct title and description. So that's what's going to be in the Boogan event. And for the Farmers Fair, yes, they're also checking that out. And check out this year's Farmers Fair and a seasonal instance for new hound and donkey pets, new boating-themed held items and housing decorations, and more. And the Keg Hopping Race and Taste of Hoppiton quest will grant more Farmers Fair tokens as a consolation prize and fewer for the winning racer.
Weird, but okay.
Yes. What were the rewards before?
I don't know, but they're less now.
I guess they figured that the pain of trying to get that deed done was punishment enough for your racer to lose. Some quests have had their Farmers Fair token rewards adjusted slightly. And the following Farmers Fair requests will now reset daily at 3 a.m. server time. Farmers Fair Maggots Mushroom Hunt, Sanson's Egg Scramble, The Fishing Hole, Sitting on the Dock, A River Runs Through It, The Pond, Big Fish, Little Fish, Fishy, Very Fishy, Hired Hook, Pond or Thief, the Keg Hopping Race, The Taste of Hobbiton, The Great Madam Fishing Swap, and Manning the Market. What time did they used to reset? Maybe it was random before?
I don't know.
Yeah,
when you least expect it.
I think some of them reset almost hourly, don't they? Maybe not.
Oh, interesting.
But I thought there were some of them that you could run multiple times during the day. Not all of them, but like the egg scramble, or the races. Like you could just log in every hour and do another keg race or another eating race.
I think so.
I know at least for the races you could log in every hour, and I think the same was true for the mushroom hunt and the egg scramble.
Actually, the keg hopping race, I can't see that being a daily because that must mean that the quest reward must be daily or something. Because I can't see them running the race only once per day.
Maybe you can only take the quest for the race once per day, so the deed's going to take you forever and forever and forever in a day? I don't know. I did not test this part of Bull Roar.
Right.
The egg scramble, the keg race, the Spanish Inquisition, because nobody expects it.
The Farmers Fair seasonal instance now have a correct category name in the instance finder panel, right? The Farmers Fair cosmetic categories on Caltha Tunneling have been rearranged to be in the correct order. Additionally, the other category will now be listed last. Does that make sense? Thring's Silver Chest and Thring's Golden Chest will now always drop a piece of gear, cosmetic or statted, in addition to the token drops. And festival vendors now have a profile for essences rather than essences and legendary items, since the obsolete legendary items were previously removed. And that's it for event changes. There are also some changes that are listed in the miscellaneous category. As there are no plans to use relics or shards in the future, relic masters and their services have been removed from the world. Combination legendary item services are now only Forge Masters. A few Relic Masters bestow quests or are related to quests and have been turned into Forge Masters so as not to break those quests. So they finally decide what they're doing with relics. Trashing them. Oh boy, that's something that we really wish that we knew before they changed the system.
Right?
And Forge Masters in Rivendell and Thorns Hall can now be used for reforging outside of Volume 2 Book 1 quest sequence. I didn't realize that they were limited only to that. Ill Omen's Essences bounty packages that have not been used can now be used by characters above level 130. They will grant a level 130 essence selection package to any character level 130 or higher.
Okay.
Alright, that's how many people have Ill Omen's Essence bounties that have not yet been used? Because
I don't know, maybe the event's coming back though and they needed to fix it.
Oh, that could be it.
well, alright, because in which case they would be testing fixing the event itself, because I thought that they wanted to update the event before having it again. Instance and skirmish chests will no longer drop heritage runes. Why? I mean, weren't those the main source for heritage runes?
Maybe so people can't finish their LI tracks?
Well, there is that. Then, yeah, that one is one that I'm having trouble understanding, because I thought that instances and skirmishes were the primary source of those items, and now they're suddenly being whisked away.
Pine, this might be part of a bigger movement to reintroduce Radiance.
To reintroduce Radiant.
Radiance. Never
First
mind.
remove heritage runes. No, I'm not sure I see quite the link.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It might be, but I think there were too many people who claimed all their LI track rewards.
Oh.
That's what I think. I don't know.
Yeah, but
though.
most of those
I
were
haven't
because
claimed
they
any of them.
hoarded they hoarded their rewards from the first time around.
Well, I mean, I'm still hoarding all of my heritage runes because I can't open the boxes that I have to get, so... And I'm out of space.
Uh-huh. Obsolete relic packages have been removed from several instances and raids. Well, seeing how that they're making it impossible to do anything with relics anyway, I suppose that makes sense. And corrected description of Brawler Hidden Hoard Fundament set to indicate that it tiers up rather than stacking. Effect unchanged. So in other words, to make the text fit with what's actually happened. So those are the changes for the third build in here. Now, concerning Bower, Sans, you said that you went into Bower this week?
I did. So do you remember, like, the first round of patch notes when we were discussing what they meant by not being able to advance quests or do stuff on landscape in a raid?
Yeah.
So, I made space on my computer, and I re-downloaded Bullroar, and I went in to test this, because I thought it would be worth knowing and actually being able to comment on. And they did exactly what they said. As soon as you switch the group from Fellowship to Raid, you can no longer do anything on Landscape. I mean, you can still kill things, but you get no credit for it, you get no loot, you get no XP, it doesn't advance your deeds, it doesn't advance your quests. It doesn't matter if your quest is a raid level quest, or a solo quest, or a Fellowship, or a small Fellowship quest, it does nothing.
That last bit is the shenanigan.
Yeah, like, I tested, so, like, you can ride up to raid level warbands in a raid, and you can't get, like, it won't even give you the quest for them. You can take the quest for the roving threats, but you can't turn in the quest that says, like, roving threats of this area. It won't let you turn in the quest. It won't let you turn in the festival quest while you're in the raid. But you can pick up the quests for all the roving threats. And then if you find and kill the roving threats, including the raid level ones, you get 0 credit for it. It just still says go find and kill them. So
that's bad.
Yeah. If this is working as intended, I think they've got more work to do. If this is not working as intended, they definitely have more work to do. Because you should at least be able to do raid level quests while in a raid, I would think. Or there should be... I mean, like, because I'm not even sure what they're trying to fix with this, though, so I'm not sure, like, how to aim the comments.
Yeah, that
because
is
if
the
they're trying to fix...
Is it like power leveling, maybe? Or...
But power leveling in a raid can't happen anyway without active people in each fellowship. Because everybody, like... So right now, on the live servers, to get credit for a kill or anything else in a raid, somebody in your fellowship has to actively take part in the kill. So, like, if you're running through and you're deeding in a low-level area, you're only going to get credit for approximately... Well, depending on how big your raid is, you're only going to get credit for about half of the kills, or if you've got more than 2 fellowships going, a quarter or a third of the kills, because you're only getting credits for ones that people in your fellowship hit.
Alright.
So I'm not sure this fixes power leveling at all. Because you can't power level just by being in a raid.
Yeah, in fact, most likely what I'll do is that if some people were doing a raid and power leveling, all they would do is they'll just run 2 separate fellowships, be on Discord, because...
Right, like, all it removes is the dots that show you where people are.
Right, okay.
Like, that's all it removes for that. Like, I mean, you have to know not to toggle to a raid. But you can't chat with each other in the raid chat, obviously, if you're not in a raid. But you could still chat in, like, Kin Chat or whatever.
You either talking in Kin Chat, or if you've got Discord, or some other voice system.
So, like, they're removing the chat feature and the dots.
Yes.
And making it way more complicated. And I'm not sure... I don't see what benefit it serves anybody
Yeah.
to remove those things. And it doesn't matter if you're in separate groups or in like one fellowship group on Bullroy right now. As soon as you toggle it to the raid, everything doesn't work.
I'm presuming that room is.
So
Yeah.
so if this goes live as it is, there's going to be a lot of problems. Especially with raid level quests, because
Need to go left or straight?
you should be able to do a raid level quest in a raid, I would think. But also
I would
because,
say,
like,
Yeah.
otherwise you've got to be like, yes, friends, can you please come help me? But I only want 5 of you or fewer, please.
yes.
Like, how dare 6 of you think that you might want to go have fun on the field trip, or...
Oh, I'm just thinking of the annoyance where after finishing the hidden horde, going to turn in the quest. Okay, actually, you turn in the quest actually when you're still in the instance, so I don't.
yeah, I
think it'll be
haven't tested
affected.
any, like, quests that you have for instances that you turn in outside the instances.
Oh my goodness! I was just thinking about now.
I only
is
tested
that-
landscape.
Yeah, but I was just thinking that when you try to find the hidden horde instance, because when we were first going into it, and someone's arriving to the quest to do the raid the first time.
Oh yeah,
you're
you
doing a
just
tier
put them in
1.
the raid and port them over.
Right. Yeah. The problem is that now they have to find the location. They have to take a quest, advance the quest in order to make the discovery and all that stuff.
Can't do it in a raid. Sorry.
You can't do it in a raid.
No,
Yeah,
and like
there's something messed up.
7 of us show up to the field trip, the perfect number for raiding. I know, Pineleaf, it's gonna break your heart.
Yes.
But like, then we can't do anything together because there's 7 of us instead of 6. That seems like a really arbitrary cutoff.
Just
Like,
what is the point? Yeah.
Like, I don't see any point or benefit to this. So hopefully Standing Stone Games will weigh in and like actually explain what's going on. But like from a user perspective, I think our title that we thought might have been too harsh is this an MMO? Is accurate, because like, do you want us to play with friends or not? And if not, can I please have like all the cheats so that I can like run around invisible and fly and stuff? Because if I'm gonna play by
Is this
myself,
an
I might
MMO
as
or
well.
an MMO?
MMO or MMO? That's a good question. Anyway, it does not seem to be currently set to encourage playing with very many people. So we'll see what they do with it. But I did download it. I did test it on Bullroar, and I can tell you that like, even if it's a glowy thing on the ground that each person would have to click on individually, you can't do it. So I didn't try anything like the envelopes though, because those aren't flying around. So
Yeah, those aren't flying around right now. Yeah, because
so I don't know, but it might be that you can open up multiple envelopes without it doing anything again. That might be a benefit from this, I suppose. When the anniversary
except for the
rolls
fact
around.
that one of the reasons they made it so that raids will advance quests was to get around the exploit of the envelopes. So if they're going to go
Well,
back to where the envelopes are exploitable again, then
I mean, there are some things I want out of the envelopes. And if they want us to play that way, I guess we can. But I don't know.
Unless they're going to make it that the envelope's advancing, unless they make it going that it's impossible to open up an envelope when you're in a raid.
It might be impossible to even open an envelope. It might be impossible to pick up an envelope or have one in your inventory. They might all just vanish as soon as you're in a raid. I don't know.
Okay, maybe that's their way of getting around it.
Yeah, maybe they just don't want us to have any raids. I don't know.
Well, I would say that the bit about not advancing raid quests, I mean, you can make an argument for some of these things, but not being able to advance a raid quest while in a raid is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
I think, like, other roving threats too, though, like, so if you go roving threat hunting in an area that has a raid roving threat or raid warbands, you should be able to advance the roving threat quests in that area.
Okay.
Because you have to check every single roving threat point to find the raid one anyway. And so I don't think it should matter if you're in a raid or not. If you kill the roving threat together, you should get credit together. Like, I don't see why it wouldn't work. And
there is that.
I mean,
it needs to be rethought.
Yeah, it needs some work. And same with the warbands, because especially on worlds that are progressing through the lower levels intentionally, like, oh yeah, and by the way, you guys, have fun with these raid warbands that nobody can kill for credit anymore. I don't know. Or, like, what about the Nazgul?
Oh, the Nazgul.
I mean, this introduces a bunch of problems that I don't know if they've thought about, so...
We can take them.
But only
Solo.
by yourself or in a small group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Good
there
luck.
is a...
Oh, it's totally a raid.
Yes, it's totally a raid, and in fact, in order to... There's an instance that depends on you killing those Nazgul in order to
Yeah,
unlock it.
have fun doing it by yourself, like, several expansions from now. I don't know.
Sans, that's why we need your cheats.
That's why we need the cheats, because we can't have a raid, we need the cheats.
Then we
No,
could be
I
fighting the Nazgul mounted on mega Balrogs.
Yes! Maybe we could even, like, make Dragok into a mount with the cheats. I don't think they're gonna give us the cheats, but maybe they'll, like, consider other possibilities, like, hey, and now everybody gets really awesome rewards.
Challenge complete.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, they seem to be, like, trying to get rid of that, too. But, we can hope.
Alright. Anyone else do anything on Borer this week?
No. I just was waiting to hear how it went, and now I'm terrified. No.
All right. Now, I did go and test a couple of things. First off, I did test the Treasure Boogan and trying to see how that operated. And when you get into there, you find that at the start of the instance, you have Theodore Gross telling you that you better find these Boogans because they're stealing his best treasures. You know how great a treasure hunter he is.
We're not missing anything if we don't actually catch the boogans.
So at some point in there, now they talk about there being a chance to find the Boogans because they do note that there is an item that you could barter for that gets you, that guarantees that a Boogan will show up. So obviously, it's not a guarantee that a Boogan will show up during the course of the instance.
You said Boogan too much. That word now just sounds weird. It doesn't have any meaning anymore.
Boogan.
Yes. And so there's no guarantee that it'll come. I have no idea what the percentage is or anything like that since I have a sample set of 1. And it's very hard to do calculations with the sample set of 1 from what I've heard. Whatever was the case, I actually did run into a Boogan, and I ran into it when I was fighting other mobs. So now the question is, do I try to kill the Boogan, or do I try to kill the mobs that I'm on? And I think I attempted to fight both of them, but the Boogan is constantly running all over the place, which makes that a bit of a pain. And I had these mobs that are pounding on me at the same time. So I decided, all right, let's kill the mobs first, and then it is about halfway through this process where I noticed that there is this timer ticking down. And when that timer runs out, the Boogan disappears and you fail the Boogan side quest. So yes, you need to try to get to the Boogan as quickly as possible. And as a warden, I was not killing the other mobs fast enough in order to be able to get the Boogan. And it's tough to do warden stuff on a Boogan because wardens have these gambits in there and you build up the gambits and all that stuff. It's tough to do when you get this mob going boop, 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 boop. So yes, I did not complete that particular item. Maybe I could do better on a brawler or something like that at some point. But anyway, that was my first try against the Boogans, and that was general failure because I didn't know at the time how the thing operated. And that is what I noticed from there. The other thing I tested out was, I think, in the first week where they were talking about names, that there were some names that were now being allowed in there. So I decided, all right, even though they didn't mention it, I decided let's check to see if I can get the word needle to be used again. And no, they still don't allow a last name of Needles. So
Don't.
Needle is still barred within the game. That is despite the fact that right around the same time I was doing the Eworth quests in the Entmarsh Vale, and they have a quest step on there where you are supposed to get some needles from somebody on there. See, so they're allowed to use needles as much as they want. It's just that we're not allowed to. And that's it for Volver. Any other comments on that before we proceed? And then let's head into our next item in here, where Scenario will be holding his first casual stroll through Rovanian on July 20th, which is in 4 days as we record this, and they'll be at 2 p.m. server time. He did a casual stroll through all of the areas in Eriador, so now we're starting to go into Rovanian. And the vote was for the first location to be Lothlorien, or at least they haven't finished the vote yet, but that is the leader in the vote. And when I say the leader of the vote, I mean by a long shot. There are more votes for Lothlorien than for all the other zones combined. And the other zones that they're giving chance for were East Rohan, West Rohan, Ered Mithrin, Ered Lasglen, Dalelands, Great River, the Iron Hills, Southern Mirkwood. So all those were places that could be potentially voted for, but Lothlorien, by a long shot, is being the one that's selected on there. Now, there are 1 or 2 items in there that have already had casual strolls because they were just coming out. For example, Gundabad, there was a preview of it in there. So they did a casual stroll to there out of sequence for everything else, simply because that was what the new thing is coming up in there. So there are a couple of newer zones that aren't on this list simply because they were done already because of there being the next thing that'll be coming out. So barring a rapid change in votes, next week they'll be having a little casual stroll through Lothlorien. And that's it for our game news for this week. So let's head into our store sales. Calabathian, what's on sale this week?
Well, I'm glad you asked. You get 20% off loot box keys, universal solvents, universal morale and power potions, and deed boosts through the 21st. Also, we've got some summer sales, new deals each week in July. This week, we've got 35% off Valar Level Boost 120, 50% off a plus 5,000 enhanced reputation supply, 75% off crafting guild tokens of esteem, also through July 21st. And our weekly coupon is a free 20% mount speed boost now through July 21st with coupon code Giddy Up Papa Mow Mow. Actually, no, it's just
Wow.
Giddy Up. Yeah. How do you spell that? No, it's Giddy Up Go.
Giddy up, go.
Giddy Up Go. It's Giddy up and go. Giddy Up Go.
Yeah, but it's still not fast enough for Sanswinda.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
About
if it worked on worse steeds that could use their sprint in low-level areas, that would be pretty cool.
Exactly.
You can't do that, but it would be
Level
cool.
5
We can
war
trickle.
steeds.
You know, that is the best part about Bull Roar still. You just get a level 5 horse steed every time, and it's awesome.
Where you going? I don't know, but I'm going there fast.
Let's head into our week in gaming. Calabathian, what were you up to?
Well, for Friday, I and others who were raiding that evening attempted the T3 Hidden Horde mobs of number 1 and number 2. And I'll let Krister talk more about the raid, but during the T3, let's just see what it's like edition, I was somehow punted off the bridge within 5 seconds of returning to life from dying. Although the mobs we were after were on the second platform. I came back, I was still in combat, and I started running across the first bridge to return to where everyone was fighting, and all of a sudden I'm punted off the bridge into oblivion. Was nowhere near them. I seem adept at strange and mystifying acts of aerial daring in Hidden Horde. This is not the first time something like this has happened. I have managed to be punted and land on the edge alive. Krister saw that one. It was not this Friday, but the Friday last.
It was impressive.
It was impressive. I got a picture of myself when I was punted at the very end with the 3 bosses many weeks ago. And I managed to land on one of the little ledges that are step-like right on the edge of the platform. I was dead, but I'm to the side and I'm just kind of hanging out there. And I got a picture of that one. But yes, this is, I guess, why I play a high elf, is so I'm a leaf on the wind. I don't know. I also believe this week that more and more, every time I do this, finding dwarven treasure caches is a pain in the tuchus. Or is it tuchus? But yeah. Also a pain, the Heart of Evil pack for Craft the World. Anyway, Krister, I'm going to toss this over to you because I really want everyone to know about T2.
Yeah, so, and that's, we were preparing ourselves and psyching ourselves up and psyching ourselves out, and last night we managed to pull it off. We did our boss 1 successfully, and not only was it a success, it actually was very smooth. There was just it just went really well.
Butter.
Yeah, unfortunately, between the T2 and the T3, where the T3 we did do good on the T3. I mean, honestly, so for not knowing anything about it. But I, of course, blew it right at the beginning when I bragged. I said the day that I tank poorly is the day that I see a lumberjack fly. And as soon as I said that, Calabathian flew right over our heads. So,
Yep. I want to fly like an eagle to the sea.
Now, next time, Krister, you got to pick something like, we'll get Dragok as a mount.
Well, when you were talking about the cheats, of course, I couldn't help but envision what I would be cheating on immediately, and that would be Jurassic would be flying out of that mountain with me. So
Totally fair.
And so yes, so very happy with our victory last night. It was very satisfying to do that. So looking forward to doing it again. Right. I think everybody at least felt pretty good about how we did it, and so and of course we pugged to our 3 positions as well. So
okay. I had heard a rumor that your raid was filled.
Well, it ultimately was filled. Yes.
Oh yes, but I meant that it was filled before even advertising a pug.
Well, so, you know what? You shouldn't listen to rumors. You should check
it out
yourself.
Even though I poorly format it and put almost no effort into it, we do post the raid channel up there. So, in fact, I need to do that. I'll do that tonight. So, but we'll do that again, fine. So definitely definitely come and I think we can see about, if you don't quite have the, feel like you've got the gear or whatever, don't worry about it. I think we're going to be fine because we've got enough people that do have it. I know Calibathian, and thank you, by the way, Calibathian, made an effort to get herself up to stuff, and I think she's done that, and a few other our people have been doing that too. So.
Yeah, I looked at those numbers that were posted in there and saying, oh yes. Now I say, okay, how much does a brawler need? I don't know, but it probably needs a lot more than a red Cappy, which is about the level of DPS I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
I'm
of course,
not there either, so it's okay.
With the brawler, I guess the interesting thing with the brawler is how would that increase damage multiply in the group as well.
Yes, there's that question.
Yeah, so that went well. LOTRO was a lot of fun. Looking forward to next weekend. And given that doing boss 1 on T2 again. So, and then in ESO, I attained the highest level of the Tribute Card Shark stuff. So I did the final quest there, and now I feel almost lost and listless because I've been putting so much into that stupid game. But luckily, Eliac, that's another character, sorry, Cord can go back to exploding, and he's done so. So he's having fun going into dungeons and blowing up. And then this week I was just filled with caffeine, so I spent several hours designing mini ships in Starship Evo. Sans, what were you up to?
Well, on the field trip, I found the Forges of Mornour with Sanswinda, who made it to Mordor finally after years and years. And that was pretty fun to run around and loot and kill all the things and have the ground shake and quake and war steed recklessly and get dismounted and sludge. It was great. I actually had a lot of fun with it. And I did some experimenting with a tank build for a baby Templar of mine in ESO. And that was pretty fun too.
Yes.
I think she's going to come out pretty tanky when she's done, but it's going to require finding more time to work on that. And I finished the first set of Hildebrand quests in Final Fantasy XIV and started the second set. And besides being ridiculous, awesome, and funny, I don't know that there's any way to actually describe these quests because it's just absurd humor the whole way, and we've been rolling in laughter, and it's been fun. And I tried a couple new maps in Ark. I started a solo Scorched Earth map, which has been fun, trying to figure out how to survive in the heat. And then started a Fjordur map with Cinders and my nephew. And that was fun, but we spent a lot of time dying, trying to get set up.
I did not get your port.
And surrounded by Andrewsarchuses, which are like hippo dinosaur type things that are really, really, really not happy to have any players anywhere near them.
I'm porting in.
And then we tried Lost Island, Cinders and I did. Well, that's been fun too. We went almost all the way around the map looking for metal, and finally looked up a resource map and discovered we could have just run down the beach a little bit further inland and we would have found a lot. Oops.
Oh.
So, that was fun. But as we were going, we were in our canoe because we thought that it would be brilliant to use the canoe instead of a raft. It'd be faster, easier to build. We could both row the whole way. And nothing would attack us while we were there because we'd be invisible to all the mobs. And everything was going really smoothly until we got about halfway around the map. And all of a sudden, a Sarcosuchus bit us. We're like, what is that? And so we kept going. And then they were like flying over the boat trying to attack us and attacking us. And then we finally thought we got away and we pulled up on land so that we could get some water and eat up. And no sooner had gotten out of the boat than the Sarcosuchus attacked again. And I eventually died and Cinders got away with the boat. And it was a great adventure. but I don't think I
With
will
the
ever
canoe.
forget like canoeing past the opening of this river and having sarcosuchuses just flying past my face, trying to bite me with their jaws open and everything. It was pretty
Yeah, you guys were just
crazy.
like it's like you guys were just a seaborn hot dog in that canoe, you know?
Totally. And they're like, yeah, we'll totally just take them out, canoe and everything. We learned that the canoe heals up on its own, though, over time, which is nice. And we finally found a place to, without sarcosuchuses, to put up a little camp. And so now we have a second base halfway around the map, and we made a raft to continue our adventure on, because at least we can build a little house on there where we can take refuge and fight back. So,
Okay, so
yeah, that was pretty
a,
much my
a
week.
9-meter crocodile.
Basically, flying
Yeah.
straight over our boat and into our boat. There were
How does
probably
a
4
crocodile
or 5 of
fly?
them at once. Well, okay, so Ark has some interesting physics,
Yes.
and
Oh yeah.
I'm guessing it leapt for us as we were rowing as fast as we possibly could, and it just missed its trajectory. Either that or it was a capro, the caprosuchus. That's possible too. They've got a major big jump, and they also look like crocodiles. And I was kind of just rowing in panic and not trying to find the names. So it's possible that some of the sarcos that attacked us were actually capros, but it was pretty crazy. And I didn't expect any of them to jump that high. But that was better than
That's what I was
direct
gonna say.
hit in the middle of the boat. So
Yeah, especially just not expecting them to hit you at all.
totally not expecting it at all. And then I went back for my body, and I got all my stuff. And then the Sarco showed back up to get me again. So I ran away from it, and it started chasing Cinders in the canoe. So she ran away from it in the opposite direction. And I finally got to a place where I didn't see it anymore, and she said it was still behind her, and she was a long ways away. So I started building a tower so that I could at least wait for her to come back and like maybe regain some of my health, because I had just a sliver of health left. And a bat showed up and gave me major rabies, and I don't know if I died from the rabies or from the bat continually attacking me. So then we had to, like, the first trip with the raft that we fortified was to go get my body again from the bat that we had to kill.
Sans, I could just see that bat just flap, 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 flap. Hey, that's a nice last sliver of health you got there.
Right,
Be
it
a
was
shame
like,
if something happened to
it, right? When I was like thinking I had gotten away too, I was like, okay, so like maybe something will destroy this wooden ladder that I used to get up on top of this pillar. But like, surely I'm pretty good now. Like, there's no birds around.
Yeah, they never.
It's art.
Bats.
But it made for quite the adventure, so it was pretty fun. And my nephew says, and why doesn't Pineleaf play this game? As we're running back for one of the third times.
I wonder why.
So, we're like, well, maybe he just doesn't like games like this, buddy.
We had some pretty exciting moments, though, you know.
Oh, there have been some really fun moments.
Trap and stuff.
Some totally crazy
exciting
moments.
Adventures.
Oh, yeah. And, like, once you get a good trap going, it's kind of like the Enderman thing. Like, with the boats. And then it's really fun. So, anyway, it was fun. And that was pretty much my week. How was your week, Pineleaf?
I will begin with my honor warden, who proceeded through Minas Morgul, and I reached the uppermost level of Minas Morgul. So now I'm fighting all those nasty raids and stuff like that, and I think I'm getting poised to finally enter into the tower. So I'm looking forward to do that and make major steps into the Black Book at that point. Then in Rohan, my brawler that's going through there reached the Entwash Vale. And so far the name Entwash Vale seems to be very, very appropriate, because every time I leave Haworth, It's raining. Thunderstormed. What is this place about thunderstorms? I don't know, but every time I seem to leave that town, it's thundering and lightning and all that fun stuff. And it's like, really? Really? So I'm hoping that the weather will calm down soon at that place. And finally, in DDO, my tabaxi battled against a T-Rex. And that
See,
was...
you'd like Ark. Oh, sorry.
No.
Totally different
Jurassic
type of
Pineleaf.
T-Rex battling, huh?
Yes.
Jurassic Pine Leaf.
Yeah. Let's then head into News Beyond LOTRO, where Darren Loremaster has another poem, and this time it is Thrain in Dol Guldur. Descended from a princely line, O Thrain, dearly you wished to see sunlight again. Within Dogor, locked with bar and key in dungeon dark, plunged deep into misery. The necromancer tortures you to find your secrets of your stubborn, dwarven mind. He took your ring already. Those dwarf rings were numbered 7, gifted to dwarf kings in ages past, now seized and reft away. More painfully torments done he now display to overcome your will, as year by year within this dungeon you reside, nor hear news from outside. So slowly you lose hope, under abuses within few could cope and remain sane. You be you being what being crouches there beyond the bars, speaking soft words and fair? Another vile minion? No, 'tis not the necromancer's way. That shape has got familiarity. Gandalf the Grey? What do you hear? No, hurry not away! Not yet! The wizard looks harried and grim. His eyes of pity focus upon him as Thrain with broken fingers finds the map concealed within his cell that no mishap has yet discovered. Thrusting it with speed into the wizard's hand, for there is need. For haste, he tells Gandalf his sorry tale of his forthfaring, how his plans did fail. His capture, his imprisonment, escape Gandalf cannot contrive. Thrain sees the shape of things to come, and bids the wizard go while yet he can, and let young Thorin now how he did perish. What the map contains, in hurried whispers Thrain quickly explains, bequeaths the trust to Gandalf, who agrees to search out Thorin. Then the wizard flees and Thrain sinks down into torpor, wan and worn. Oh, that awful day had not been born when he set out to arrogance and pride to seek his fortune, eschewing to abide safely with kindred in dwarf halls and stone. Now for his rashness Thrain will soon atone. His days are numbered, his life soon is sped. None left to need the necromancer, except the dead. And that is the story of Thrain in Dol Guldur. Thank you, Joe III, for becoming our newest patron here on Patreon. If you would like to join Joe and our other patrons and help support Lotra players, you could go to the donations page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. We do not have any emails this week, but if you like this one, you can send it to podcast@LotraPlayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter. Players Alliance at Players Ally, Lotra Players at Lotra Players, Arendis at Arendis, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, Sanswinda at Sanswinda, Terry Edwin at Terry Edwin, Guarendis at Guarendis, Calabathian at Calabathian, and Christopher at Entropy Engine 1. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have Lotra Players News. And on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. Though please note that next week's show is scheduled for Thursday, when we'll be returning from our hiatus. If you'd like to join us for our live shows, you go to LotraPlayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Pipe Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.